The truth is, it's very, very difficult to talk about Harav Ovadiya, especially that my connection was really not from close, but from far. I lived, when I was a child, in Australia. Came from Eretz Israel to Australia in 1960. And our kesher to Yiddishkeit was very, very strongly thanks to Yeshivat Porat Yosef. And the connection was with Rabbi Ezra Dwek, and then the other Hachamim of Porat Yosef, Harav Ovadiya, Abba Shaul, Yehuda Tzadka. We used to get letters, have many, many letters from the yeshiva, Michtavei Hizuk, sometimes in English, sometimes in Arabic. We didn't have too much Yiddishkeit there, except there was, Baruch Hashem, a very, very strong Hungarian community, Hasidic community, like, not Hasidic, but not into Hasidic. Like, if anybody knows, like the Hungarian Orthodox, somewhat Satmar style. My father didn't have a brain, he put us there, and it was a very good move. Many, many people didn't have the seichel to do such a thing, because we were a different, completely different mentality. At home we were speaking Arabic, we were speaking different, and prayed different, and Hagim were different, and at least that's the way I felt when I was a child. I looked different, they looked different, but of course a child follows on and becomes one of everybody else. I remember when I was a small child, my father used to, the boys used to say, "You're Sfadi, who do you have? You haven't got Gedolim." We got all the Gedolim. At that time there was really a lot of people. So my father used to give me chizuk and say, "We have Harav Ovadiya Yosef." That was in those years. So I believed him, had him munat chachamim. My father probably knows what he's saying. Then when big people came to Australia to visit, like they come to, so it happened that we mentioned Harav Ovadiya Yosef, and they all, Gdolei Ador, oh, Harav Ovadiya, this is the one special. Baruch Hashem, with the years, we had a little bit of a kesher, a strong kesher with Yeshivat Porat Yosef, and I managed to speak quite often on the phone with Harav Ovadiya Yosef, and then personally I went to visit. Till a few years ago, when I went with my sister, you should know Harav Ovadiya lo pasik klum migrasa, never stopped learning. And the only thing by him was learning, and he was mekushav, and he didn't masir dat from learning. That's why he remembered kol haTorah kula. You think he had a good memory, but he didn't remember many, many things that weren't in Yanei Torah. They're just like a story that happened not long ago. Somebody gave him a very substantial amount of money. He promised to donate. And when he left, the Gabaim, the people of the house, they thought, that the philanthropist forgot to give the money. So they called him up, you promised you donate for the Sfarim, whatever. So he said, "What do you mean? I gave the Rav, I gave him cash." So they asked the Rav, he didn't give me anything. But they have their matzlemot, so they looked. The Rav took the money, put it in a safe, he didn't even notice. And it wasn't, so they looked, they saw, they managed to work out which safe he put it in. And it was there. Bichlal, his mind wasn't Bichlal in Inyanei Olam Hazeh. So I went with my sister, we went together for a special reason, as he said. We came to the Rav. The Rav left everything, such mamash, as if he has all the time in the world, sat us down on a sapa, he sat down also, and he asked whatever, he was concerned for us. But then I realized that I'm doing a very, very wrong thing. It's very nice to go into a gadol. Cham Ben Zion had also a kesher with him. Years ago, it happened that they were together, Cham Ben Zion and Harav Ovadiya, at a certain place. And Harav Ovadiya was going to leave, so he told Cham Ben Zion, come, let's go together. They were friends from when they were children. They grew up and they both together, giants. Cham Ben Zion said, no, I don't want. Anyway, it was on the way, but he didn't want. When Harav Ovadiya left, he said, Harav, why didn't you go with him? So he said, I'm afraid if I go with him, he'll tell me to come in for a few minutes into his house. And so I don't want to cause him in. So he said, but so, a few minutes. She said, what do you mean a few minutes? Do you know what 5 minutes means for Harav Ovadiya? Chas v'shalom, I don't be given b'tur Torah. So then I realized it's not the best thing to go to Harav Ovadiya and to be friendly with him. Better to be mekabel from him from far. I learned a lot from that. But the gadlut of him was that it was Vayered Moshe el Ha'am. I mean, I don't know if in this generation, I don't know if there was and there will be such a person. I mean, it's unbelievable how much he remembered. Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef told me that when he gave out the Taharat HaBayit, the 3 volumes now, Taharat HaBayit, it's a masterpiece. Every posek who was osek in Hachot Nida, they all said, there's nothing in the world like the Taharat HaBayit. When they took it to the printer, when he was here, he told me this. One of the pages got lost. Well, what do? If the printer sefer and it's missing one of the pages. And it was terrible, because what do you do now? So Harav Ovadiya said, give me a few hours, and he went and closed himself in the room, and from his memory he wrote word for word the page that was missing. He gave the printer the page. Later on, I heard, this I didn't hear from Chacham Yitzhak, but later on I heard from somebody else that they found the page and it was mamash word for word. We don't know, we don't understand what we lost. How the world is. Without Harav Ovadiya, I don't know. The Gemara tells us in Moed Katan, 3 yamim lebech, 3 days, when the person passed away, you weep for 3 days. 7 yamim lehesped. Some of these things I've said over again. I've said in other places. I'm just repeating certain things. It's very nogea. 7 yamim lehesped. The Rambam says, when we say 3 days lebechi, that's b'sha'ar ha'am. אבל תלמידי חכמים, הכל לפי חוכמתם. So, it's more than 3 days. However, אין בוכים עליהם יותר מ-30 יום. More than 30 days, that means by 30 days, that's the max of בכי. because שאין לנו גדול משה רבנו, and it says by him, ויתמו ימי בכי אבל משה. 30 days. Hesped, 7 days. However, for Hachamim Gdolim, it can go till Yud Bet Chodesh, but more than that, you don't do. שאין לנו, מי לנו גדול בחוכמה מרבנו הקדוש, and his Hespedim went for 12 months. So, I was in Eretz Israel after he was nifter. I had to go to Eretz Israel Baruch Hashem for good reason, but I went. I was Menachem Ovel. It was mamash 2 days after the Ptira. Nahale Dimah, unbelievable. I don't know if there was in history such a thing. Mamash, everybody felt that they lost their father. In Mamash we see that besides the Gadlut, he was Mamash, like the Rav said before, he boiled down everything into a few words. He was Mamash a father for Klal Yisrael, Mamash a father for every single person who came to him. And Be'emet, I don't feel that I'm going to come and say something about Harav Ovadiya. I think it's a joke, but it's a hiyuv. And like I said, I think it's true. It says that on Shaul HaMelech, there was a Ra'av 3 years in Eretz Yisrael. Why? שלא נספד על שאול, שלא נספד כהלכה. They didn't masbid Shaul כהלכה. Of course they were masbid Shaul. Shaul HaMelech, like it says in the בנות ישראל בחנה, על שאול, המלבישכם, all the beautiful things that Shaul did for Klal Yisrael. Of course everyone wept for him. אבל כהלכה, they didn't. And therefore they got such a big onish. It's not pashut. This inyan of Harav Ovadiya leaving the world is everyone has to be shaken to the core. When we say by Elisha, when Eliyahu HaNavi was taken away from him, he cried out, Avi, Avi, Rechev Yisrael, Ufarashav. By Harav Ovadiya, we can understand the Kipshuto. Till now it was nice, drashot, we said nice, all different type of Torah, whatever, Avi, Avi. Here it was Mamash, Avi, Avi, Rechev Yisrael, Ufarashav. Mamash, the whole door felt it. But, as one of the Maspidim said a few days ago, a tremendous rayon, and אני ארחיב את הדבר. The Gemara tells us an amazing thing in Berachot. Everyone knows this Gemara. Rabbi Yochanan Halash. Rabbi Yochanan was sick. על לגבי רבי חנינא. אמר לחביבים עליך ייסורים. אמר לא הן ולא שכרם. By tzaddikim, they have a choice. They can say lo hen v'lo schar. We don't have much of a choice. But they don't need the Yisurim. If it's Kedai, like Rabbi Shimon thought it was worth it at night. By day, he doesn't want Yisurim. By night, he takes Yisurim. Everybody remembers the Gemara. He chose, so at night when you go to sleep, no more learning. So, Bo Havirai he'd say to the Yisurim. But Rabbi Yochanan, he made a cheshbon, lo hen v'lo schar. It's not worth it. So, Rabbi Hanina told him, Top, have li yadcha, give me your hand. Yav li yadeh. So he gave him his hand. Okay, he lifted him up. Top, khalas, now you better. You might ask how come Rabbi Yochanan did that also to somebody else, Rabbi Elazar. The Gemara says, En havush matir atzmo bet asurim. He has to have somebody doing it for him. Then the Gemara says that Rabbi Elazar halash. To give Sarah Rabbi Ezra, Rabbi Elazar probably is Rabbi Elazar ben Pedad probably. So Rabbi Yochanan went to him, and Rabbi Elazar ben Pedad Yadua, he was very poor, and the room was very, very dark and very gloomy, and he was sick, and he was in bed. And Rabbi Yochanan came in. He said, it's so dark. So he lifted up his sleeve. Oh, like the lights. Oh. Galili dar'e v'nafal ne'ora. So he looks at Rabbi Elazar and he sees he's weeping. So he asked him, Amalek, what are you weeping about? Im mishum Torah de lo afashta. If it's because of Torah that you didn't learn so much. שנינו אחד המרבה ואחד הממעיט, ולבד שיכוון ליבו לשמיים. The ikar is to be מכוון ליבו לשמיים. When you're learning Torah, you have to be connected to Borei Olam. That's the ikar. Doesn't make a difference how much you put all your koach to learn how much you can. That's what he's telling to Rabbi Elazar ben Pedad. Okay. אם משום מזונה, because you suffered poverty, לא כל אדם זוכה לשתי שולחנות, ואם משום בנה, that means not everybody is זוכה to be rich and to be תלמיד חכם. And if it's because of children that died, he took out a little tooth from his pocket of Yohanan and showed him, Den Gerama de Asra Abir. This is the bone of the 10th son that died on him. And he used to carry his little baby tooth as Agmat Nefesh and to be Menachem people who will go through tzarot. So he said, no, not because of that. Amalei, Lahai Shufcha, the Bale Behara, Kabachina. This beauty that Rabbi Yohanan had, that he's Gali Lidroa B'nafal Nahora, that is what I'm crying about. Such beauty. And the Gemara says in Masechet Baba Metzia, the Maisa, famous Maisa, that Rabbi Shlakish saw Rabbi Yohanan swimming. He thought it was a woman. He jumped after him, and then he saw Rabbi Yohanan. So he said the tremendous beauty, Shufrach L'Nasha. So he said, Helach L'Oraita. Akopanim, he promised him he'd give him a sister if he would take it upon himself again to come back to Torah. See, Rabbi Yohanan was beautiful, very beautiful man. So Rabbi Lazar has nothing to cry about, not Torah, not Parnasah, not about children dying on him. The only thing he has to cry is about the Ha'id Shufra de Balabara. So everybody asks the question, Marsha also, what's this? It doesn't make sense. They're crying about Shufra. So he says, no, says the Marsha, the Lashon is, they were in this car in Yerushalayim, the people had a certain feature. The Bnei Yerushalayim, they had a feature that their skin was so beautiful. And Rabbi Yohanan was the last ones, it says in the Gemara, in the Midrash, who had this beautiful skin, it was mavhik, oh. Once Rabbi Yohanan left, that was it. No more. We won't even know what the beauty of Yerushalayim was. This is also what happened to us now. Harav Ovadiya, he was from the Shufra, the Shufra of Yerushalayim. There was Rabbi Ezra Dwek. There was a few other Gedolei Olam. The Mesirut Nefesh for Torah. The learning Torah mitoch oni. And the seriousness. We never knew that Sfaradim also have got this concept of killing yourself on Torah. We didn't see it really. When we were children, we didn't see it. It hurts to say it. With Harav Ovadiya. And the ones who were around him, whoever remembers that door, they were the ones that were left. We didn't have like the Ashkenazim had all these big Rabbanim all over Europe in the last generation. Of course we had it going back 100 years, 150 years ago. There was everywhere. In all the Sephardi places there was. But this Gadlut, this Anakiyut, was in Yerushalayim. There was a handful. And it wasn't normal. It wasn't normal. It was more, much more. Then we can imagine. We can't imagine. And now, it's more than 30 yom. You can't do Bechit more. That's finished. That dome is finished. And that's what's eating us. Where are we gonna see such an example where our children are gonna see this Faradim? They are saturated in Torah. Damn it! You don't need me to tell you all of this. But it says, "Kol hamit'atzel behespedo shel hacham ra'ui lekavro b'chayav." The Gemara is very, very, very strict about not being Masbi the Hacham. It's very important. Everybody should understand what's going on there. And that's what we have to try and enforce now. A big Koach Torah is gone. We need to bring this. Baruch Hashem, Mamash, each time I come here in this area, I see Baruch Hashem, it's going on and on, it's Baruch Hashem, it's flourishing. Hashem Yazor, Ken Yazor Hashem Allah, you should have hundreds and hundreds of Ba'ali Batim and B'nai Torah and B'nai Kollel. That's the only way we can fill in this gap, or this, I don't know what you can call it, the gap, this big hisaron, this big, the halal that's been left. Everybody has to do it. Everybody. It's Behinat Avi Avi. It's like a father. Anybody who lost a father, even if it's just Adam Pashut, a shoemaker, lost his father, he makes a big asek. It's not like here the Gdol Ador and Kvodo Bigdolim. It's not the Kvodo Bigdolim over here. This is Kvodo Bigdolim, Kvodo Bigtanim, Kvodo Big. Every little boy and every little girl has to understand that here we've lost something, and we have to see that we need a Yeshua. Somebody asked, no, Harav Ovadiya was 93. Didn't you know it was going to be nifta? It's going to be nifta one day. Mashal ma'ad davad umi. A person who's going in the midbar. It's in the middle of the night, and it's very scary. But he has a little light, a little shemen, a little bit of fire, and he's going. And then suddenly nichba ner. Now he's in the dark. And he starts crying. What's the matter? You didn't know anything. It's going to go out. He said, yes, Aval, we hope that it will go till the morning. We're in the darkness. We're living in a door, mamash, from all sides. Choshech v'afila, yitzhara, from all sides. Yitzhara Gashmi, Yitzhara Ruhani, Yitzhara, all types of Yitzhara. The only order we have is Torah and the Gedolei Torah, because by yourself you cannot learn Torah. You need to have Masorah. You need to listen. You know, the Torah Shebaal Peh wasn't allowed to be written. It wasn't allowed to be written. Rabbeinu HaKadosh said, "Eit la'asot la'Hashem v'kol Toratecha." Before, there was only, in any Jewish house, you only had 3 books, Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim. That's it. Nothing else. Everything is illegal. Everything is asur. Isur hamur to have any book in a Jewish home. Maybe the Yevanim had, maybe I don't know who had, the Chinese. Yehudi, Chas v'Shalom. If they had, it was Megillat Starim. Matzat Megillat Starim. So they said that they wrote down Torah Shalom, Chas v'Shalom, not allowed to write. Why did Hashem do that? Why can't I sit at home and learn Gemara? Because that's not the way to have the Masorah. The Masorah has to go in Pelos, and you have to see the Gdolim, you have to see how they pray, you have to see how they learn, you have to see how they Yashvut HaSechel. This is the thing that we lost. That was unbelievable. I'll tell you a few little stories. I'm not a good storyteller, but Rabbi Haimov, some of you know, in New York, from the Bukharian community, he once went to visit by Harav Ovadiya, and the Rabbanit Margalit was there. And she says, you know how Harav Ovadiya became Harav Ovadiya? So she said, "Yasapeh lecha." Harav Ovadiya never knew about anything, because the Rabbanit protected. He didn't even open the door for anybody. Not if somebody knocked on the door. It wasn't shy that you should go. It wasn't shy that Harav Ovadiya answered the phone. Wasn't shaykh, nothing. Oh, he was completely making Torah. So the Rabbanit said, when I went, I had to buy him shoes. He never went to buy shoes in a shoe store. Wasn't shaykh. Okay, so I would go to the shoe store. They knew me. I'd take 5 shoes, which I think that matim l'Rav. I'd come home, and the Rav would be learning, sitting down, learning the Sefer. So I'd say, Harav, she never called him Ovadiya. She called him Rav Ovadiya, I think. She was very, very respectful. The Anhaga of the Rabbanit is a book b'fnei atzmo. So she tells the Rav, tries to distract him. Kaniti lecha na'alaim. Oh, tov. And he's still learning. B'atmada. So he says, "Tchim limdod. Tov, ze tov. So then until she begs him, "Ulai torid et hana'al v'zeh," and she bends down on the floor, she takes off his shoe. "Tov, ze beseder," and he's learning. And then she said, "Look, totzi et haregel, I want to put you on the shoe." So she tries on the shoe. "Ze tov. No, ta'amod. You have to stand up. You have to see if it's good." "Ze tov. Ta'amod. So then he stands up. "Okay, ze tov. No, telech. Beseder." So he goes with the sefer up and down. Ze tov. And then she says, "אבל תסתכל אם מתאים." So he says, אני רוצה ללמוד. עד כדי כך, the Rav never would be mevatel. But the pele is that with that hasmadah, it was always, how many times people came to him and said, אם אני לא אלמד, this was a few years ago, אני אהיה מהארץ. Straight after Shachrit was finished, straight to the book. I remember he went straight to the Rambam, if anybody went there, and he'd read from the Rambam, and he'd read. Lo Yuman, the learning was never forgot by him. He knew all the Sfarim. It wasn't shaykh. It's stam ledaber al ze, it's not, but you have to know. He knew mamish literally all the Sfarim that he had. Shelot u'tshuvot, the hardest books he would say. It was like honor. He taught and this, and he knew already how the Rab would finish, and he understood things that other people didn't understand between the lines. Dvarim niflaim. Why didn't he forget? Because he was so thirsty. Like there was a story with the Hatam Sofer. Once one of the Balabatim asked him, "How do you remember so much?" So he said to him, "Do you remember the big fire that there was 20 years ago?" So he said, "Yeah." He said, "How come you remember? You remember everything?" "Yeah, I remember like today." So he says, "How come you remember?" It was something that you can't forget. So he said, "By me, every day is burning a fire." And the same thing with Harav Ovadiya, the fire of Limud Torah. He was so thirsty, he was so excited, that it was like seeing the most wondrous thing, that he don't forget any prat. And that's the way he learned. And all his life, he never played a game in his life. He didn't know what it means to play a game. He didn't know nothing. His brothers, they all said, it makes us look like, but we have to know what we've lost. That's the thing. The Zikui Arabim, by him was number one. Any Avrech, anybody who was Mizaket Arabim, he was so mehazek. I remember when I opened the Bet Midrash in Tafshin Nun in Australia. What hizuk, what beautiful letter he wrote to me. And anytime I called, all I had to say was, as the Rav of the community, he'll leave everything. Again, whatever you want. This is after such hatmada, everything. If it was Zikui Arabim, if he had to go and give a shiur, it doesn't make a difference for who and for when and where. He'd leave everything. The oni and the dahak of Harav Ovadiya was till late on in his life. It was very difficult. He went through nisyonot. Mamash, there wasn't what to eat. The Rabbanit didn't have where to even feed the child. When she had to nurse a child, there were people that come and go. She would sit under the table with the baby, and she would nurse under the table where the Rav would learn. Everything was jammed and cramped and everything. And the Rav didn't realize anything, nothing. The Mesiut Nefesh. And the problem is that there were other people also with him, other Gdolei Olam. But of course, today we don't understand it. Today we're living in a different type of door altogether. I'll tell you another master of his, Shmirat Hainayim, was for the storybooks. Unbelievable Shmirat Einayim. Somebody once asked him, how you remember so good? So he said, Lo taturu acharei lebavchem v'acharei einechem leman tizkiru. I was so captivated in Torah. Not long ago, he finished reading the Megillat Esther. His granddaughter, 16-year-old, wanted to kiss his hand. So he didn't realize. He see a lady next to him, he jumped away. The guy said, "My yes, Nechda." He didn't realize. So a lady next to him, he jumped. How many times when he was young, he was in the street and the Rabbanit, when she was engaged to him, she saw him and he didn't notice nothing. And she was upset and she went, the Rav saw me, he didn't say hello, nothing. He didn't even realize that all of it was completely in the Torah, immersed in the Torah. One time, recently, his Gabbai, if anybody was there, he had Tzvi Hakak, I think his name is, very nice man. He used to take care of the Rav Mamash B'nei Manut. He brought him his tefillin. Look at the gadlut of the Rav. After he has to change the tefillin, he realized, oh, I brought him the Rabbeinu Tam. And he prayed. They make hafsaka after Asher Shbiritecha, after Amidah, and then they change the tefillin, and they say Shema, and then they continue. So, I didn't know what to do. I'm going to tell the Rav that it's to make bracha now on tefillin the Rashi. So he was scared. I told the Rav, but the Rav, Ta'iti, I gave you the Rabbeinu Tam, made bracha. So now it's Rashi. So the Rav looked at him and said, oh, yes, this is the Ikar. So we think, fine, Rav, it's no problem. As soon as the Rav left the Kahal and he went into his room, he התפרץ בבכי, ברכה לבטלה, נכשלתי. When nobody was looking. Then he was crying and crying. Then later on in the day, he remembered again, he started to cry, נכשלתי היום, ברכה לבטלה. We don't understand the Gadlut and the Yirat Shamayim that lies in the story. Unbelievable, like in front of the Kahal, יש פוסקים ככה, ככה, ככה. אבל הדקדוק בהלכה, and the קפידה on everything, he was, for the Kahal, he was one thing, and what he said to everybody was one thing, how he was with himself, he was, the doctor said, it happens sometimes, a person is engrossed in something and he forgets to eat, right? By Harav Ovadiya, he used to forget to sleep. This is not derech hateva. He'd forget to sleep at night. Many times he asked, Achalti? Well, he didn't know if he ate or he didn't eat. You have to remind him, you can't put achal, lo achal. But to sleep, he forgot. Yashanti alayla. He didn't realize. This is not normal things. This the doctor said. They said it by the Shiva. They said it by Rabbi. באמת, יש הרבה מה לדבר. באמת, I didn't intend to talk long. Just want to be mehazek and do what our duty is. And we have to realize, Baruch Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us this legacy that Harav Ovadiya left. Gdolei Olam, children, first of all, his Bechor, who was Nifter, Rabbi Yaakov. I mean, I knew him a little bit, I went to ask him Sheilot. Kol HaTorah Kula, Mamash. When he was sick already and the doctor said finished, he gave 1,000 shiurim. They count 1,000 shiurim. From the time when he knew that he has to leave the world, and he was, my son Yossi, he learned in the Kollel where he was and he tell me coming every day, he's giving shiurim, but he can hardly walk. But he was giving shiurim Torah the whole time. I went to his house, I asked him some sheilot from Mamash, not normal sheilot, everything clear, the Shulchan Aruch, everything written inside, straight away, open, straight away, the answers. We have Baruch Hashem, Rabbi Yitzhak Yosef, Hashem should give him Orch Yamim Mishkot Hayim, should be Zocher Be'ezrat Hashem, Hafitz et Torah. And his son Cham David giving out Halacha Brura. All of these things, these are big zchuyot. Who zocher to have such children, such geonim, and such mehabrim? Baruch Hashem, the Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us this gift, and באמת אין לנו כבר על מי להישען. This finished. We need Yeshuat Hashem. And בואו ונתחזק, רבותיי. The only thing that can hold us together is the Torah. Doesn't make a difference if you're Ashkenaz, Sfarad, Hasidish, Litvish. What holds us together is the Torah. Rabbi Yosef Raful, Shehila, Chemi with my Rab. By him. Years I sat by him and I'm always mitayetz with him. A lot of shtuyot he knocked out of my head, Baruch Hashem. He straightened my head from when I was a young boy. And he told me the Ikar is the Torah. The Ikar, Amaratzut, brings a lot of pirud. But if you have Torah, you can't be midrash. Nobody looks at anything. The Ikar is the Torah. That's the thing that holds us together. We have to be mitchazek. It's the only thing that will hold us and will keep us going. It says, Ki lo tishachach mipi zaro. We have a guarantee. Till Mashiach comes, Torah lo tishachach. But we have to make sure that we're holding on. Don't let go. Even 1 minute, like Rabbi Yachad Kollel once said, we're like in an ocean. And they threw to us the wheel, and we're holding on. If you let go for 1 second, you can have the best excuse, but you're finished. The best excuse. You have to hold on. That's what we have to do. Lilmod u'lelamed. If anybody knows anything, teach it. Teach it. Get another balabait. Moshcheni acharecha. B'lashon yachid. Narutza. Because it grows. It becomes Lashon Rabim. Narutza. Moshcheni, Lashon yachid. Narutza, Lashon Rabim. That's the way it should go. Kadosh Baruch Hu Yazor that Rabbeinu should be a מליץ יושר for us. שעמוד לפני הכיסא הכבוד. שאולי בי זוכר אולי את גאולה שלמה. בעזרת השם, אמן כן יהי רצון. I know, I have to go give a shia around